What's up? Welcome to this week's mindset video. And again, like last week, we were talking about mindset around training. This week, I want to talk about mindset around fat loss and why your current mindset is either driving you forward or it's holding you back when it comes to the level of fat loss results you can achieve. All right, well, the biggest thing that I see on a daily basis for the last 24 plus years is this longing and searching and attachment to the number on the scale going down. All right, and weight loss being what you're striving for versus fat loss. All right, and you have to understand that they're not the same thing. All right, that's probably the most important initial stage. All right, weight loss is about losing weight. When you lose weight, a portion or an amount of that weight every single time is going to come from lean muscle. All right, I think it's for every 1 to 2 pounds. All right, it's 20% of that's always going to be lean mass, depending on what you're doing to increase that lean mass at the same time. All right, I'm going to try and keep this as simple as I can. If I'm constantly losing pound after pound after pound after pound, and if I do it in a very short period of time, it means that my body is in a massive deficit. And if I'm in that much of a deficit, it means that I'm also not fueling my body enough to be able to keep or build lean mass. All right, that I'm in a deficit and I'm losing lean mass and fat. And you see this with competitive bodybuilders all the time, right? They've got to hold on to as much muscle as they can when they're getting ready for competition because their calories are dropping so much. It's really hard for them to even be able to train, let alone hold on to lean muscle. And as a busy woman, a busy mom, you're constantly in this world of comparison, right? So and so's this height and this weight, for this height, I should be this. You go into the doctor, and fuck, this blows my mind how many of my clients go to a doctor and the doctor tells them how unhealthy they are because of their weight. But they don't ever take the body composition into account. Are you somebody that holds more lean muscle mass? Are you somebody that, was an athlete when you're younger and you were able to build more lean muscle mass, right? That your body has naturally retained.
That's true.
Right? Whatever it might be, you're not taking the whole picture into account. And I think that's where you've got to initially change your perspective is that, okay, the number on the scale is one part of the data, but what's the rest of the data that I need to understand the entire picture, right? It would be like getting a drawing or plans of your house, and then they just show you what the roof is going to look like, but you don't see the entire frame. You don't see the foundation. You don't see the furniture, the rooms, the walls, the plumbing, the electrical. You just see the roof, right? And you're basing everything, your emotional state, your reactions, your feelings, whether you feel like you're a failure and a success and everything else, on the fact that there's just a roof that you can see.
I completely agree.
You might laugh and think I'm being facetious, but that's what you and a lot of you are doing on a daily basis when it comes to the scale. The number went up 3 pounds, 2 kilos, and then this, and then, oh, I'm still fat. Like, I've literally watched somebody tell me how incredible they feel, how great it is. I'm fitting into all of these clothes again. I feel amazing. I haven't worn these shorts in ever. They jumped on the scale and they were 1.1 kilos heavier than they were the week before, and their entire world crumbled. I'm fat. Nothing's working. I'm disgusted with all of this stuff. I just want to give up.
Yeah.
And when I say I've seen that, that was in a matter of hours. Not days, a matter of hours from getting this information and all of this raving text message about how excited and proud they were and everything else to them being disgusted, feeling like a failure, nothing's working, and I want to give up. Like, but it shows you where you give the most amount of context, the most amount of power. It is to this fucking number on the scale. Like, to be honest with you, I weigh myself and there's not even a connection to it anymore because I've seen how my body's changed over the years. And if you haven't seen that, scroll down on my Facebook page and you literally will see how I am leaner and 20 kilos heavier now than I've ever been, right? And for a lot of my female clients, it takes them a while to get their heads wrapped around this, that the number on the scale is ultimately irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true.
Like that number can be whatever it'll be. As long as we are getting leaner, dropping the most amount of fat while maintaining the most amount of lean muscle, now we're able to burn more fat all the time, have more energy, feel stronger. The results will last the test of time. Like, why would I ever want to focus on something that doesn't have anything to do with that? Right? Like that number has nothing to do, right, with your ability to add lean mass and drop fat. Nothing. It's just going to be an indicator in terms of where you're at. And then we can work out, okay, cool, how much of that number is lean mass versus fat mass? And then that will give you your body fat percentage as well. All right. So when I think about mindset around fat loss and weight loss more than anything, right, is the fact that I have to be able to look at things from a perspective that serves me, not harms me, right? Like everything that you are, and our demographic's super busy, right? For them to put the time into their food, for them to focus on themselves, to invest in themselves, to get up, to get to the gym or work out at home, or whatever it might be, there's a lot of sacrifice to be able to do that, right? And I respect that. But if all of that sacrifice and work is only connected to that number on the scale, going up, going down, whatever it might be, and then your entire emotional state is wrapped up in that, like you might as well just headbutt a wall nonstop.
Dobby! Stop! Dobby! Dobby!
Right? Everyone hears me say that all the time. But like it's just as useful and it's going to be just as painful. Whereas what I would rather you focus on are how do I want to look? How do I want to feel? What do I want my energies to be? What are the numbers I'm going to rack up in the gym? Like that's a number that you should focus on. Like what weights am I lifting? Right? And how am I able to increase that over time? Right? Those are the numbers that actually matter. Right? Am I doing this in a way where it's setting me up for long-term success? Am I playing the long game? Or every time that something doesn't happen on that scale, I'm completely deflated, defeated, reactive, and suddenly I feel like crap again.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Well, again, no one did that to you. You chose that. You gave that number on the scale that much power. And then a lot of women stay stuck in this cycle of like, I try something, I get enthusiastic, I sacrifice what I need to make this happen, and then that number doesn't move. It's all not worth it. I'm going to eat whatever. We go into what I call fuck it mode. I'll eat whatever I can, do whatever I can, because screw you. That number on the scale sucks. None of this works. That guy's full of shit. And then they'll be 10, 15, 20 pounds heavier. But from my perspective, again, I still don't care about that number on the scale. I care about the fact that you are now however many weeks out of routine. Your metabolism has now gone from you putting work into it to going, you know what? I don't need you anymore. So then it slows down again. So we got to retrain it to work again for us. All right. It's the same when you're going from one diet to the next diet to the next diet. You got to understand that you can't ever build a consistent amount of lean mass. You'll never be able to build your metabolism long term if you're hopping from one thing to the next thing, hoping that that number on the scale is going to hit some ideal number that you came up with based on what? Like based on the BMI, which was actually how they used to measure cattle in 1930, all right? Or based on what so-and-so's weight was, or based on what the doctor said, or based on whatever crap that you have allowed to seep into your brain around this ideal number. All right. There's no ideal number. There's an ideal you. Right. There's an ideal you, a way that you operate, a way that you go after what you want long term. Right. And I talk about this all the time. Anybody can be excited for 10 hours. Everyone can be excited for 10 days, maybe even 10 weeks. How many of you are going to be enthusiastic and excited to keep working on yourself for 10 years? Right? I guarantee even when I said it, you're like, oh, I don't have to do that. Like, what did I hear a month ago? I want to be able to get myself to a point where I don't have to work out, where I can eat everything I want, and it's easy for me to maintain my shape. I'm like, so you want to start working out, you want to eat whatever you want, and you want to be able to maintain your shape. Like, that's the point you want to get to. Like, that point will never exist, or maybe it'll exist for a few weeks, and then everything's going to start working. That engine's going to slow down. Those extra calories have nowhere to go except into fat.
Yeah.
All right. So again, it's how you set yourself up. And if I can give you the simplest takeaway from this in terms of your mindset when it comes to fat loss, all right, and weight loss from this whole conversation is, how am I setting myself up for success? Right? Like, how am I going to set myself up for success? Because if I'm going into this with old thinking, if I'm going into this next, wherever you are in your journey, with an old strategy, with quick fix tactics, with drop 10 pounds in 4 weeks, right? All of these different things, then you're setting yourself up for failure, because everything's based on short term. And what happens past short term? This is why so many women feel so defeated and so lost. It's because they do one challenge to the next challenge, and one diet to the next diet, and one thing to the next thing. But nothing is designed for sustainability. Nothing is designed so that this just becomes a part of what you do day in and day out, long term.
Okay, that makes sense.
Whereas for me, I'm actually flipping things around now. And I'm about to launch a new program literally within the next week, that my clients that achieve their goal in the next 10 months will win 10K, will win 10K, will win 10K, will win 10K. They'll get $10,000 worth of value from me just for hitting their goals. All right. And of course, there's things that they have to do, but their goals aren't going to be based on weight. None of them are going to be based on weight at all. Right. Think about that, right? Being able to give yourself an opportunity to, like I said, set yourself up for success in a way where you're working more on who you want to be, how this fits into your lifestyle, and more importantly, how you see it. How do you measure your progress? Are you just looking at the roof, or are you looking at the entire picture, building a strong foundation, building that fat burning engine that's going to allow you to stack whatever you want to over the top long term and still be able to stay in shape?
Yeah, I think I like that.
Like, that's the thing that blows my mind. It's like, this way, you can eat more long term and still stay in shape. This way, it's a race to the bottom. You're going to restrict yourself until there's nowhere to go. Your metabolism is going to be dead. You are going to hate life and food forever. And you think I'm joking, but I can't tell you how many women tell me how much they hate to even think about food. All right? But this is where you keep going to. This is your default, because this is where all the marketing messages come in, and the quick fixes and the shiny light objects and the instant pills and zap things, and wear this wristband and suddenly fat will disappear. Right? Because over here, it's going to take time. You're going to have to build this engine. You're going to have to build this foundation. No one's going to do it for you. You got to turn up and you got to put it in time and time again until that foundation is strong enough that you can keep stacking, until that engine is burning at a rate where you can enjoy life at a level where everybody over here who now hates food is envious of. But they weren't willing to go this route, to put in the work. They wanted the quick option, and they wanted to attach everything to a number on the scale that doesn't even show them an eighth of the entire picture. So I hope that gives you some context, because again, like I said, how are you setting yourself up for success? Because your mindset around fat loss and weight loss and training and all these different things are the reason why you are and aren't doing what you need to do, why you are and are not showing up, how you are showing up, and the amount of effort, energy, time, and even intensity that you're putting into things in order to get what you want. Your ability to see the big picture, to play the long game, versus getting caught up here, feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, annoyed, unhappy, pissed off, angry, right? And not able to see what things will look like for you long term. So then you stop, you give yourself a little bit of space, you get back into being in pain again, to then finally get the enthusiasm to try again in another direction that you can now see. Because when you were here, you couldn't see anything. So you stop, you give up for a while. Okay, cool. What's the next thing? Ooh, that sounds nice. That sounds exciting. I want that in the next 3 days. boom, off you go again. Whereas this foundation, it was always there. It always will be there. I've been doing this for 24 years. Do you know how many different things I've seen come and go? There's a reason why, regardless of all of those things, right, we still focus on the fundamentals around fat loss that are designed around how your body works and how you'll always be able to burn more fat long term, right? And if I can help you in that, as always, reach out to me. Send me an email at adam@ilovechanginglives.com. Message me on any of my social media channels. But more than anything, step back, think about how you are setting yourself up for success. All right. And if we can help you do that, like I said, reach out to me, as I would absolutely love to.